Tristan Davis. Knocked down short of the 10. Tremendous kick coverage by the Gators. Dustin Doe, one of the linebackers, knocked him down. Brandon Cox will lead out the Auburn offense. He has overcome the effects of myasthenia gravis, a muscle disease that almost cost him his career. As a junior, he is the starting quarterback for the number 11 team in the nation.
And he's been banged up ever since the LSU game. Left ankle, left knee. This week, the best he has looked and the most comfortable he's looked, dropping back and planting on that left leg.
Stewart and Irons are the split running backs. Play action, Stewart. Blocker in front to the 19-yard line, dragged down from behind by Brandon Seiler. Let's take a look at the starting lineup presented by the U.S. Postal Service. Auburn's offense will find out tonight if the offensive line can overcome last week's mistakes. New center Jason Bosley had 2 fumbled snaps in that ballgame.
He should be more comfortable tonight in his second start. The 2 tackles have to play well also. Those are 2 new starters this year on the Auburn offensive line.
Joe Cope was a guy they could ill afford to lose with all of his experience. Straight up the middle again with Kenny Irons, the 5'11 senior, fighting that turf toe injury, as Holly pointed out. Florida's defense has 11 interceptions this year. That's tied for 3rd in the nation. Ryan Smith and Reggie Nelson have been ball hawks so far. They have 4 picks each.
Really, the emergence of Ryan Smith this summer as a corner allowed Florida to move Reggie Nelson to free safety instead of corner, and that has really strengthened this Gator defense because he is a playmaker at the free safety.
Cox, short set, throws complete. Strike to Rodriguez Smith, and the Auburn offense clicking early.
Al Borges scripts the first 15 to 17 plays, but he says you got to make first downs to make scripting work. Good pass protection. The first 2 throws for Brandon Cox have been short throws, short drops, get it out of his hands quickly, and a good start. A good start for the Auburn offense, a good start for quarterback Brandon Cox. Can't emphasize enough how important it is for Auburn to get out of the gate fast.
He's completing nearly 62% of his throws this year. Irons, and this kid is healthy. He's unbelievable. He's a load and a half of 203 pounds. He gets to the 40. Bosley pulled out from the center spot and gave him a good block.
You know, Holly talked about the steel plate he's wearing in his right foot. He tried to go without it early in the week, and it was just too painful. I mean, a turf toe injury, you can't get rid of it until the season's over and you can get off of it for a long time. So he has to keep the plate in. It affects him cutting off of that right foot. But, you know, in a game like this, he says he's just hoping adrenaline will kick in and he'll put it out of his mind and run as hard as he can. So far, he's doing that.
Single back set. The motion man is the second tight end, Tommy Trott. He goes back to a wing. Irons nowhere to go this time and buried at the line of scrimmage.
Really, Kenny Irons has had 2 things bothering his lower body. A right toe, which is still hurting him, and a left high ankle sprain, which is feeling much better. So it's easier for him to cut off his left foot and come back inside than it is right now planting off his right foot and cutting back inside. That time the Florida defense was there waiting for him.
Rodriguez and Guess are in as additional wide receivers on 3rd and 4. Irons on the toss, high-stepping it, cuts back near midfield. It's a first down, excellent block from Tim Duckworth, the right guard.
When we talked to the Florida coaches, they said, hey, Irons and these 2 guards are outstanding. They pull their guards, Tim Duckworth out in front. Ben Grubb's out there in front also. These 2 guards are the guys that are their movement guys. And they're both athletic, big bodies getting out there in front of Kenny Irons.
They only rushed for 60 yards a week ago against Arkansas. One of the reasons Kenny Irons unable to play. Now Lester comes in to give him a blow. Lester, number 1, the deep man in the eye. Cox, play fake. Out in the flat, and he's got it complete to Courtney Taylor, the leading receiver, and Auburn clicking on all cylinders on the opening drive.
Again, a fast start, so important from a confidence standpoint. I mean, this offense was expected to be great this year because they had their quarterback back. They had Kenny Irons back. They had Courtney Taylor, their best wide receiver, back. But you fail to take into account 2 new offensive tackles. You know, you lose your senior tight end, you lose your senior center to injuries. There's the wide receiver breakdown. Courtney Taylor, clearly the go-to guy in this offense. Need a few of those other guys to step up a little bit more.
Taylor more than double what anyone else as a wide receiver has done. Lester has been bothered by a groin injury himself. Gets inside the 40 to 37. Flag is down. That could be a face mask. Brian Crum, the strong side linebacker, made the tackle.
A lot of people said, you know, when Auburn lost, it took a lot away from this game because it could have been 2 versus 3. I think that loss gives Auburn a new sense of urgency about their season.
Absolutely.
And about the rest of the year. I expect them to play better than they may have played had they won last week. And it's showing right now. This does not look like the same Auburn team that played Arkansas last week.
Well, Tommy Tuberville's words last week about it being so difficult to go through this conference undefeated to have a shot at a national championship are certainly prophetic. That's not the reason why they lost. A lot of people jumped on it for that. That's sort of silly. He's just stating a fact, and he was right. Cox almost intercepted. He was lucky. Rodriguez-Smith was down there, but McCollum had tremendous inside position, and the ball was underthrown. Now check the marker.
Well, the center snapped the ball, Bosley, because he felt movement across the line of scrimmage, so it's kind of a free play for Brandon Cox, and he took a shot down the field. That's 2 penalties now for Florida, the most penalized team, not just in the conference, but in the country.
Number 94 in the defense, 5-yard penalty, replay first down.
And smart play by Bosley, the young center. Right. They were worried about his inexperience, but that's a veteran's play.
Yeah, and again, 1 week under his belt will do wonders for this young guy. He's a talented sophomore out of Huntsville, Alabama. But last week, you know, in his first start, there's a whole lot of things going through a center's mind. He's got to make a lot of calls for pass protection.
And I hope you saw the graphic on the Gators. They have committed more penalties than anybody in the country. Stewart inside the 5.
Great block by Courtney Taylor out in front of the play. There were 2 receivers eligible. Courtney Taylor was one, and the fullback coming out, Carl Stewart. Watch Taylor's block once he doesn't get the ball. As soon as he sees Cox go to the underneath throw, he immediately becomes a blocker in front of Carl Stewart, gets a pancake block down the sideline, and Stewart inside the 5-yard line.
What Brian Crum, the linebacker, started toward the line of scrimmage and voided that area, and Cox very calmly just tossed it out there for the easy gain. Irons back in. Cox fakes.
Again.
They fumble. Auburn got it back at the 9.
Man, I thought he had the fullback again. I'm not
like
sure
the same play.
Yep, Matt McLaughlin was the fullback in, and he was open.
After the fumble, it will be 2nd and goal from the 9. We're to sold-out Jordan-Hare Stadium at Auburn. And Auburn has taken the opening kickoff and driven it against the undefeated number 2 Florida Gators. This will be the 11th play of this drive. Irons the tailback, Stewart the up man. Stewart straight up the middle. Back to the 5. And Marcus Thomas, number 44, the young man who's coming back from that suspension, made the tackle. He's a key to their run defense inside.
He is a outstanding football player. Gets great penetration. He creates havoc in there. And I'm sure this new center, Jason Bosley, well aware of where number 44 lines up all the time. Right now, he's directly over his nose.
3rd and goal. And a timeout.
That is their first choice timeout of this half.
3rd and goal. The Tigers on the initial drive of the ball game. Cox with time floats it to the back of the end zone. Incomplete. Rodriguez got a hand on it. Rodriguez-Smith got a hand on it. Couldn't hold it. Everett was there. The linebacker with outstanding coverage.
Earl Everett in perfect position to make the play. It's a pretty good throw by Brandon Cox to the back of the end zone. Everett reading the receiver and just instinctively put his left hand out there and got it on the football. Earl Everett and Brandon Seiler, two senior linebackers, have played extremely well for this Gator defense.
This means John Vaughn will have to settle for 22-yard field goal tries, 9 out of 11 this year. And Vaughn is true. James and Moore are deep. And Vaughn crushes one out of the end zone. Here's Chris Leak, who has done a tremendous job handling what could have been a tough situation with the young freshman quarterback, the phenom Tim Tebow.
But Chris Leak understands that right now this is the best strategy for the Gators to win football games. Chris Leak is unquestionably the starting quarterback. This is no quarterback rotation. Tim Tebow has a package of plays, 10 to 12 a game, but Chris Leak is the main man.
Deshaun Wynn with a tender knee. Starts as the tailback, and he'll get the first carry. Plows ahead. Take a look at the U.S. Postal Service lineups. The Gators' wide receivers have been very productive, and they've come up with big plays, too. Cornelius averaging over 19 yards a catch this year.
Well, with the spread formations, they create matchup problems with their wideouts. And the other guy to keep an eye on tonight, number 8, Percy Harvin, who is back healthy from a high ankle sprain. He gives them one more weapon on the outside.
And they'd love to get him the ball 8-10 times a game. Win again, hit right at the line of scrimmage and knocked flat. Good play by Marquise Gunn, the defensive end. Auburn's defense did not tackle well last week. They moved some linebackers around. Johnson and Dede have changed spots. And you're also going to see a young man, Trey Blackman, number 10, who has not played this year. In fact, he hasn't played in 2 years. He was a redshirt freshman a year ago. The young man had been suspended for off-season underage drinking. It's one way to tackle better. They had 12 guys on the field. That leaves one unblocked no matter what you do.
Costly penalty. We saw a couple penalties on Florida in the opening possession to help the Auburn cause. Now a big penalty against the Tigers. Ball out near midfield for Chris Leak. And the first time we've seen more of a spread formation. First two plays in tight, running right at this Auburn defense.
Leak with time. Little wide receiver delay and across midfield. Goes to throw to the tight end Tate Casey, who caught the jump pass touchdown a week ago. Urban Meyer now in his second year, 15-3. And at Utah, he was the National Coach of the Year. He's been a raging success wherever he has gone.
Well, that 15-3 mark, the same that Steve Spurrier had through his first 18 games at the University of Florida.
And he's got a shot at what Steve Spurrier won in '96, a national championship, if they continue to go undefeated. Right up the middle again. They are exposing Auburn the way Auburn was exposed a week ago. Aaron Savage made the tackle after a 16-yard gain.
Well, last week it was Arkansas's big back, Darren McFadden, 28 carries, 145 yards. Deshaun Wynn, the big back for Florida, has not played for the last couple weeks. Looks good so far early in this game. And that is the way to attack this Auburn defense. Run right at them. They're too fast to run around them, but they're a little soft if you run at them.
They show a four-man line, and they know they're going to have to crowd the line of scrimmage. Handoff again. Harvin this time. And Harvin with all that speed. They'll line him up in the slot at wide receiver, in the backfield, any place they can find a way to get him the ball.
Well, he's a great, we talk about Tim Tebow being a great change of pace for Chris Leak. A healthy Percy Harvin, a great change of pace for Deshaun Wynn, because he's a speed guy from the tailback position. You see, as soon as he got that, he broke outside and ran around this defense. That is not an easy thing to do.
Last week against Arkansas, they were gutted for almost 300 yards after a great start. Keyshawn Moore, number 33, will get a shot at the tailback spot. He's alongside Leak. Moore with the carry. Look at the room on the right side. They are just blowing Auburn out of there. Jim Leland has done such a magnificent job with that ball club. Now out of the stack eye. Down to about 1.5 yards to Deshaun Wynn.
This Auburn defense is built for speed. Very fast. They're not particularly big up front, and their defensive tackles, Sinderic Marks, number 94, is a young freshman. Josh Thompson, the other defensive tackle, 6 foot tall, 290 pounds. So they're not the big physical defensive tackles like you might see at LSU or Tennessee. And right now, Florida going right at this defensive middle.
2 fullbacks in front of Deshaun Wynn. Wynn gets the carry, and he is thrilled. Pat Sims, 304 pounds, all of it. Got him right in the chops.
Pat Sims with a great move. Watch how quick off the ball. He's just going to shoot in this gap before anybody can cut him off. The tackle trying to cut him off. Way too late for Pat Sims. He guessed on the snap count. Great anticipation and a huge play on 3rd down.
Chris Hetland has not made a field goal this year. He gets to try from 22 yards. The Gators have been one of only 2 teams in the country not to kick a field goal. He was 0 for 4, but shut out no more.
You hate to settle for a field goal after you move the ball so well, but to get him off the snide may prove to be very important for Florida as this game progresses.
When you haven't kicked one, 22 yards probably seems a little longer than it should. Davis from the 3. Found a seam and takes it up to the 23-yard line.
They got some good players,
don't they? Especially on offense. Great receivers. Cox to the sideline. He got it complete to Preche Rodriguez.
Number 15, Preche Rodriguez.
Todd, you mentioned this earlier. This is all based on play action and
right.
Play action passes off of that.
Yeah, that's what they do. They've got to run the football, and then that sets up their play action, and Brandon Cox does some bootlegs and movement, and right now they've got it going. They moved the ball great that first drive, 13 plays, 85 yards, missed a great opportunity for a touchdown, but they're moving again right now.
Kenny Irons spins out of 1 tackle, picked up 4 yards. Marcus Thomas made the tackle, the young man who was coming back from that suspension.
We mentioned that Auburn had to settle for a field goal their last drive. Watch the fullback, Mike McLaughlin's going to get out here, and Brandon Cox is going to have him open off the play fake. Right there, he's got him open, and for whatever reason, he couldn't see him, and then Auburn very fortunate to get the ball back and settle for the field goal. But you got to score touchdowns to beat Florida.
2 tight ends on 2nd and 6, and Cox just turns around and throws that ball into the ground, and the Gator sideline wants to know why that's not a penalty. And the pressure was from Joe Cohen, the defensive tackle, who fired right in there.
Again, Auburn loves to run naked bootlegs, and this was a stunt between the end and the tackle, and Cohen was the guy who came around. Now, Joe Cohen kind of lucky he didn't get a penalty for hitting the quarterback in the head.
Oh, jeez, twice.
He double hit his head. One with the chest and one with the arm, and you can't hit the quarterback in the head.
How do you miss that one? And I couldn't believe Cox was out of the tackle box either. Here comes pressure. The Gators straight up the middle, and Cox goes down. He didn't have a chance. The sack will go to Derek Harvey. Thomas was applying the pressure up the middle, and that's what the Gators are so good at with that front 4.
And Al Bohr just said, the offensive coordinator, we need to stay out of those situations where they just pin their ears back and come, because that is not our strength. Our strength is movement, running, play action. That's the 19th sack that Auburn has given up this year. That's already more than they gave up all of 2005.
And Cox is not a guy that's going to run away from a lot of pressure either. Brandon James, the deep man. Returnable kick to the 30. Shakes one hit. and now swallowed up. Isolated angles. There's also ESPN.com, ESPN 360, mobile ESPN, and ESPN News.
Oh, boy, Auburn just ran their last player onto the field late. I think they're calling another timeout. They've already got called one penalty for playing a play with 12. This time they only had 10 on. They were trying to run Merrill Johnson on late and had to burn up another timeout.
Gators from their own 31. End around goes to Caldwell. Urban Meyer reaching deep into his bag of tricks already.
Trey Blackman is in the game now for Auburn. I think that's why they had to call that timeout. He was supposed to be in to start this series. He wasn't on the field. Merrill Johnson tried to run on late, and they had to call a timeout. But he is now in the ballgame, and they expect a lot of impact from him.
It's not a good way to start, though, is it?
No.
Hey, your first play.
6 weeks, and he's waited a little longer.
Trey. 5 wide receivers for Chris Leak. And he'll give it off to Harvin, who comes back as a running back. Harvin out to the 45-yard line. It'll be 3rd and about 7. Coleman and Savage made a catch.
Florida changing things up right now. They are running first and throwing second. Now, Urban Meyer, again, he wants to run the football. That is his MO. He is old school. Even though it's spread offense and spread formations, first and foremost, he wants to run it. And he sees Auburn struggling to stop the run last week, so he's challenging them the same way.
Make it 2nd and 7. Leak with that moving pocket. Throws on the run. Is it a catch? It is. Andre Caldwell goes to the ground to make the grab in front of Eric Brock.
Well, I want to see this one again. It was a low throw. Chris Leak very accurate when he moves out of the pocket. That's a tough throw. Throwing back to his left. And it looks from that angle like a pretty good catch. Looks like Caldwell got both his hands underneath the football. And it didn't bounce off the ground. I think that's a great catch.
And a pretty good throw. I've always thought that's got to be the toughest thing for a quarterback to do. Keyston Moore comes back in as the running back. Auburn shows only 3 this time. Here comes pressure on Leak. Moore open in the flat and taken out of bounds at the 27-yard line.
You know, one of the things that Chris Leak does really well that is kind of understated and you take for granted is he knew pressure was coming from Trey Blackman, but he just keeps drifting a little bit. He keeps drifting back a little bit to buy some more time. Watch Leak. He knows pressure's coming from Blackman. So you just drift, throw it off your back foot as you're backing up, dump it off to an underneath guy.
You can already see the obvious athletic ability of a Blackman. Moore. Boy, there are gaping holes right up the middle in the gut of that defense. Brock has to come up from his safety spot to make a tackle. They're just gashing the center of that Auburn defense. That will do it.
Fast game.
It sure is. Leak on the handoff to win. And Quentin Groves from his defensive end spot made the tackle.
First down, such a huge down for both these offenses to stay on schedule. Both doing a great job. Florida over 10 yards per play and most of it on the ground. Last week, Arkansas averaged 6 yards per carry on 45 rushing plays. Tonight, Florida averaging over 7.5 yards per carry against this Auburn defense.
Don't have to worry about 3rd and long, do you?
You sure don't.
Leak, play action this time. Pressured to the end zone and out of bounds. Had Caldwell open. Blackman was putting pressure on Leak.
We talked about Florida has an offensive package for Tim Tebow. Well, Auburn has a defensive package for Trey Blackman. In most cases, it's going to be rush the quarterback. But again, you see Caldwell is open. Leak throws a pretty good pass, just not enough room there on the sideline because of the pressure and the pursuit of Trey Blackman.
Well, he can move, can't he?
He's a playmaker, and that's what this defense has needed Our guys to step up and make plays.
A rare 2nd and 10 for Florida. Leak with time, floats this one for the end zone, tipped, and Baker caught it, touchdown. Dallas Baker with his 6th touchdown catch of the year. He beat Wilhite in the corner. Pretty throw, and Chris Leak knew exactly where to put it for his 6'3" wide receiver.
Yeah, great inside move to get position on the receiver, and then Leak puts the ball where he has to. Wilhite never saw the football, and that enabled Baker to reach back behind him and catch it.
Wow. Mismatch of 5'11" against 6'3", and Baker took advantage, especially when Wilhite had to play in the trail position. The point after puts the Gators up by 7.
I have tremendous respect for him, the way he's handled this quarterback situation, because it really starts with him.
Davis with his 3rd kickoff return of the first half. Behind the wedge, a seam up the middle. Tristan Davis to the 38-yard line of the Florida Gators, a 58-yard return.
Well, Tristan Davis has had a great year returning kicks. The first kickoff, Florida, great coverage. Tackled him inside the 10. Second one, a little better. This one, a lot better. And he didn't mess around with the kicker. He never slowed down. He never broke stride. And a huge play following the Gator touchdown by the special teams. Both these teams take pride in what they do in the kicking game. That was a big one for Auburn.
That was his best return of the season. And now Cox from behind, taken down. Never saw Derek Harvey.
Well, I think you got to throw that ball away. And speaking of throwing it, watch this move now by Dallas Baker on Wilhite. He's got him head up in coverage, but watch the inside fake on the move. Right there, he's got him frozen. He jabs him inside. That put Wilhite back on his heels, and he could never recover. And everybody on that Florida bench excited, especially Tim Tebow. And how about this kid? He hadn't even gone in the game yet. Still very excited with what's going on with the offense.
And boy, once you can get a defensive back to cross his feet, you've got him. And Baker is a good receiver.
You know, Alford just talked about Brandon Cox, that he would rather him not throw into coverage and hold the ball longer.
Right.
But I just think a sack like that is so demoralizing. You know, you get the big kickoff return, throw that thing up in the seats.
Sure.
Don't take a 6-yard sack and put it in 2nd and 16 against this kind of defense.
I mean, it's not either or. You know, there is an in-between.
Right.
He certainly had his injury problems at OU. Cox wants a screen. Lester got a block and got down to the 29-yard line. Marcus Thomas from behind. And Marcus Thomas is one of those kids that Florida has really missed. He was suspended for marijuana use. They were going to suspend him for a 2nd time, but he appealed it, saying it was actually the result of the first instance, and the appeals board agreed with him and cut short the suspension.
He is a real factor for this defense. I mean, that play right there, I mean, that's a screen pass. He's running from his defensive tackle position, pursuing from the backside, hustling all over the field. I mean, that's a guy who wants to make an impact, a senior who's happy to be back on the football team, and really one of the leaders of this team.
First down. That's a big play for the Tigers. They get a fresh set of downs from the 29.
A well-timed and a well-executed screen pass on 2nd and long.
Boy, and they got away with a sack on that series, too, that started to put them in the 2nd and 16. Somebody jumped up front. Free play for Cox. For the end zone, a little contact and incomplete. Reggie Lewis and Courtney Taylor bumping each other. Now there was a question, was Florida drawn off or did they jump?
Ray McDonald has a tendency to try to anticipate a little bit.
Offside. On the defense, player in the neutral zone at the snap, the left end, 5-yard penalty, remains first out.
Ray McDonald is very quick off the ball, quick first step, but sometimes he gets caught trying to guess and anticipate. He's looking in at the ball, but he's also listening to the quarterback's voice, and that time he got in there too soon.
The Gators, the most penalized team in the country. You don't see that very often with the #2 team, a club that's undefeated. Florida's penalties have all come on defense. Cox will now go to the shotgun. Pressure coming. When Cox didn't react to it well either.
Well, he didn't. Now that time, tough to get rid of it. I mean, they got to do a better job of protecting him in a situation like that.
Crum was coming from the linebacker spot to join the front four.
But watch Marcus Thomas come right over the new center, Jason Bosley. I mean, he is an impact player. Just went right around him. I mean, that was a bust right in the middle of the defense. And when pressure comes right up the middle of the quarterback, you have no chance. If it comes outside, you can step up and buy some more time.
Bosley turned out toward one of the tackles. They had a 3-on-1 block, and they missed Thomas. Cox underneath. Complete pass, Rodriguez-Smith, and Smith has a first down.
This was a heck of a catch by Smith because the throw was a little bit behind him, and he had to gear down and reach back for the football and then turn upfield and get the first down. Pressure again by Florida. Cox gets rid of it, but look, the throw a little behind, and Smith is able to stop, reach back, and then instinctively turn inside for the first down.
Consecutive huge third down plays to keep this drive alive. Cox again. Wanted Stewart out in the flat. Now throws over the middle of the truck. The tight end lost the ball. Was he down or was it a fumble? They say fumble. Knocked away by Tony Joyner. Holy cow, they would have had a first down at the 7.
That was a designed middle screen to the tight end. They're going to fake the screen out and then bring Trot right in here for the middle screen. He's delay, and then throw it to him. Perfectly designed and executed. Joyner causes the fumble, and the Gators avoid a scoring threat.
And that ball was out.
Yep. The Gators had 5 forced turnovers in the first 4 games. That's 9 now in the last 3 games.
And Derek Harvey, who's already had several big plays in this game, got the recovery.
Boy.
They start from the 2. Leak.
Yeah, you know what? This is going to be a safety.
There was a holding call in the end zone, wasn't there?
There was a holding play on this play. Jim Tart, the left guard, with a takedown in the end zone. I think this is going to be a safety for Auburn.
Holding on the offense in the end zone. Safety.
Well, this was a pull by the guard, Jim Tart. He's going to pull around and try to block the end, Quentin Groves. And he just grabs him and pulls him down. I mean, he hit him clearly in the back. That's a tough block for Jim Tart coming around there, but he's got to get... you can't take him down like that. Can't wrap your arms around him in the end zone.
So that cuts it to 5. And a beleaguered defense that had all sorts of problems last week against Arkansas, has had all sorts of problems so far tonight, comes up with a huge play. Ehas will kick, and Davis, who had a great return the last time, will get a shot at really good field position this time as he gets him to 23. Behind the wedge, but Florida does a good job covering that kick. They'll start from the 36-yard line. How many times has a one-loss team played in the BCS National Championship game? Kenny Irons, 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Nice cut. I love to watch watch that kid run.
He's got tremendous leg drive. He's got great vision. I mean, the one thing he does as well as anything is see seams in your defense and cut back if you over-pursue. Watch him read this. Press it, and then cut it back. And then because of those strong legs, he's got the ability to break arm tackles and get extra yardage.
He's only 203 pounds. He runs like he's 220.
See, Florida's got a lot of guys in the box, but I still think you feed it to this guy.
Irons very patient. Just waited for that offensive lineman, waited, and then took off. Tell you what, I don't think it's going to be clear sailing the rest of the year for USC. And California's coming on so much. Irons inside the 35 to the 34. They are force-feeding the kid right now, and he's responding.
He's too big a part of your success. You've got to get him involved in your offense. Give him a break right now, but that's encouraging to see him cut off of that right foot. 7 carries, 44 yards, couple catches. I mean, you don't beat Florida in this defense without Kenny Irons having a big-time game for you.
Absolutely. Lester comes back in, the young man who originally lost his job to Kenny Irons, is the starting tailback for this club. Stewart in front of him. Lester, a hole up the middle. Lester! He could have kept his balance. He had a chance to go. Tripped up at the 18. Reggie Nelson made the saving tackle.
Well, great block by the left guard, Ben Grubbs, also on Brandon Seiler. Good blocking up front. Grubbs gets the middle linebacker taken care of, and straight up at that defense.
Lester wants to be a big part of this too.
Florida's defense, very unusual tonight. Their free safety, just about every play, is way out of the action, Reggie Nelson.
Cox, play action. Tipped and incomplete. Good penetration by Ray McDonald, who got in there and got a hand on it. The Gators came in number 4 in the country, allowing only 56 yards a ball game. Tonight they've already given up 52, and they are the number 2 scoring defense in the country at 9.5. They are in jeopardy of seeing that go by the boards as well.
And that 52 yards is actually more impressive than that because they've got 3 sacks, and that sack yardage is taken off of their rushing totals for Auburn.
Inside the 15 goes Lester. Brian Crum, who had only 15 tackles his entire first 3 years of his career and has 18 this year, was in on the stop.
Now this is the situation that Auburn has struggled with. If Florida is assuming pass and they pin their ears back to rush the quarterback, they have been able to get to Brandon Cox pretty quickly. Might even see Auburn try to slip a run in here on this 3rd down play.
4 wide receivers. Cox out in the flat. Taylor dives to the 8-yard line. Depending on the spot, it's close.
Very close.
All I could do was stare at it. First down. I've got some strange friends.
Well, Courtney Taylor, their go-to guy, he knows what he needs for the first down, so when he catches it, he's fighting for that 8-yard line and then reaches the ball out at the end. Good second effort by Courtney Taylor after the catch.
First and goal. Lester stays in as the tailback. They'll get the call behind Stewart. Muscles his way to the 6.
I don't think Courtney Taylor could see the yellow line either, but he did know where he needed to get for the first down.
Boy, this has been an entertaining ball game so far.
Both offenses playing very well. Really challenging, physically challenging the opposing defense, running the football right at him.
Cox under pressure, and he just won't throw the ball away. He's just going to go down.
But again, that one's hard because they ran this bootleg right into a twist on the backside. This is the second time it's happened. And what happens is the end is going to go in and the tackle's coming out. So the tackle now has contained and there's nobody there to block it. Because of the twist, it fooled the pass protection a little bit, and Stephen Harris did a nice job of holding his contained position on the outside.
But there's nothing wrong with throwing a ball out of the end zone.
There is not.
And now Harvey, with a big first half, has 2.5 sacks in this ballgame. And Cox is going to use the timeout. And for Harvey, that's 6.5 on the year. He's got better than 1 a game. Dunn being repositioned. Pressure coming. Cox throws it away. Threw it into the ground because Lester was out there with a screen, but it was perfectly covered. Made a smart choice there.
Yeah, you don't want to knock yourself any further away for a field goal attempt for Vaughn. Even though he's got a great leg, has already kicked a 55-yarder earlier in the year against Mississippi State.
But Florida already has 4 sacks in this ball game. The pressure they put on Cox. This will be a 31-yard try for Vaughn. He's already hit from 22, and would cut the lead to 2. Right down the pipe. James and Moore deep from Matt Clark's kick. He's been a tremendous weapon on kickoffs and unloads on this one as well.
Pretty good for him.
That's a pretty lousy way to get it, isn't it? Leak gives it off to Harvin. Great speed.
Great instincts, too, because you know he wants to get to the outside, and then a flag at the end of that play. Might be 15 more yards for the Gators. Harvin does a nice job of planning and setting up blocks also.
Boy, this is big. 3 carries for 37 yards for Harvin.
Dead ball. Personal foul. Number 24 on the defense. Unnecessary roughness. 15-yard penalty. First down.
For most of them, including this one, there's just no reason for it.
Yeah, well, he's an older guy, Will Hyde Jr. He got beat by the touchdown by Baker earlier in the game, and he's just got to let go right here. You know, the play's over. It's not that horrible of a tackle, but the play's out of bounds. The play's over. Let it go and go play another play.
As it is, it gives him a first down at the 49-yard line. Harvin again. Tries to cut back, bounces off of Blackman, and Harvin! Look at the speed! Holy cow, what a run! Blackman tried to blow him up instead of tackling him, and it cost him 47 yards.
And that's a kid, again, who has not played all season. Blackman, number 10, running into him, and he doesn't bring his arms. He doesn't wrap him up. And Harvin, great awareness of where he was on the field, stays alive and turns it into a huge play.
And Harvin is only 180 pounds. Blackman outweighs him by about 30 and should have been able to get him down. And that's what they're telling him right now. And here comes Tim Tebow for the first time for the Gators. He'll be in the shotgun, takes a snap, and there goes Tebow. 230-pound touchdown.
Wow.
He was out there looking for somebody to run over, and there wasn't anybody.
Most of his runs have been inside. Power runs inside between the tackles. First time he's in the game tonight, they run him outside on a counter play following the fullback Latsko. Wow.
That was too easy. Hetland for the point after. He's missed a couple. They've had kicking problems, but he got this one. And Tebow, with his 11th carry of the year, has 3 touchdowns. This kid is something else.
Watch, remember Jim Tart, the guy who got the penalty? He's going to get a great block here, and then the all-purpose guy, Billy Latsko, is going to lead it around the corner. Again, Tebow, most of his runs have been inside. This time they run counter, outside. Tart gets the first block, Latsko gets the second block, and Tebow walks into the end zone.
We told you the problems the Auburn defense had a week ago against Arkansas. They're having the same problems tonight. They are allowing 10.8 yards a rush, 13 carries for 140 yards by that Gator offense. Davis from the 4. Another seam, and they cut him down at the 27. Oh, Reese, that's ugly.
That's really ugly.
Haven't had any of that here. We just had some tremendous offense by both ball clubs.
Well, these three schools in Florida, Miami, Florida State, and University of Florida, have taken turns being on top. Right now, no question who the leader is. Florida undefeated, the other two not even ranked. Where not only does that pay big right now, but it's big in the recruiting season too, once February signing date comes around.
Almost 30 years since both of those clubs have failed to be ranked. Cox dragged down from behind. Harvey, who was having an enormous game, got a handful of the jersey, and Cox isn't going to get away from too many people.
These two defensive ends are really creating some problems up front for Brandon Cox. Again, two new offensive tackles. Marcus McNeil, their starting left tackle for the last 3 years. He's starting for the San Diego Chargers now. Trey Reddick was their right tackle. They got two very talented guys in King Dunlap and Jonathan Palmer, but it's going to take them some time. They are having some problems right now with these defensive ends of Florida.
3rd and 6. Pressure coming on Cox. Gets rid of it. Complete. Courtney Taylor with a first down at the 47. A gain of 17. This kid will play at the next level.
He came to Auburn as a quarterback. Pretty good pickup by Carl Stewart, the blitzing safety. Stewart picks him up, and then I love what Courtney Taylor did after the catch. Wasted no time. Watch him catch it, turn right inside, and get extra yardage. Very instinctive play by Courtney Taylor. Here as a quarterback, moved to wide receiver early on, was not a very good wide receiver when he started. Didn't know how to run routes, but he's a very competitive kid, and he's gotten better each year at that position.
With time, throwing in Taylor's direction again. This one is too high, and he's hit by Reggie Lewis just as he got a fingertip on it. Let's go to Holly Rowe. Holly?
Well, guys, Auburn's wide receiver coach, Greg Knox, told me that when he was recruiting Courtney Taylor, he noticed how competitive he was for the ball. He was a quarterback, but he was also a standout basketball player. No matter what sport he played, he wanted the ball in his hand, and he would compete for it. Guys, that hasn't been any different since he's been here as a wide receiver, and he's a standout this year after the departure of all those great wide receivers from last year.
All right, Holly. Auburn has no timeouts, but still plenty of time on the clock as they're at their own 46 and 1:44 to go here in the second quarter. Draw play, Lester. A lot of room to run. Lester, 30, 25, still on his feet. They try to take the ball away from him, and Lester is inside the 20. Nelson and Smith finally got him down, but it's a gain of 34.
You know, you think with no timeouts, it's a little tough to run the football, but when you run it for 34 yards, go ahead and run the thing. Another huge hole opened up by the offensive line of Auburn. Look at that. That is just enormous in there. And then Lester, with a good bit of running, once he got into the secondary, eluded Joyner for more.
Cox back to throw. This one tipped and incomplete. Intended for Smith and tipped by Jarvis Moss, the defensive end.
Cox pass deflected by number 94.
Hey, you're right. It doesn't take long to run 34 yards if nobody's touching you.
Second down.
Nice combo of Kenny Irons, a little more of a power runner. Lester, a little more of a speed runner.
And the Gators have already given up 30 yards more than they average this year. Auburn running the ball very, very well. Cox with good protection, throws out in the flat to a wide open Riche Rodriguez. Auburn third, 2.5. Got all the receivers stacked on the left side. Now Taylor goes in motion. Cox short set under pressure. That is the 5th sack. You can't take a 3-step drop, can you, and stand there forever?
Well, but you have to hold him out of the middle. And again, this was the center, I think, Jason Bosley, who's going to get run over by Ray McDonald. Watch right in the middle here. Ray McDonald is just going to take the center and push him right back to the quarterback. You can't expect a quarterback to do anything when that kind of pressure happens. Outside, combination route. Lee Guess was open, but absolutely no time to make the throw.
4th down, they set up for a field goal try. That was Cope, the young man who was the starter. This will be a 34-yard kick by Vaughn, who's already made 2. 11 points on 3 field goals and a safety, and we're back to a 6-point lead. The question, in case you don't remember, how many times has a one-loss team played in the BCS National Championship game? I'm just awful at these. Florida State, 1998 and 2000, Nebraska 2001, Oklahoma 2003, LSU 2003, the only national championship for a one-loss team. And another deep kickoff that will force them to start at the 20-yard line. With the new rules of the clock starting on a change of possession, they're not even going to have to run a kneel-down play. And the Gators will go into the locker room with a 17-11 lead over the Auburn Tigers.
Coach Tuberville, what must your offensive line do to improve against that pressure?
Well, they're pretty fast. We're going to have to run the ball, obviously, a little bit more, keep them off balance. The offense is doing a pretty good job. We'll get one in the end zone. We just got to be able to line up on defense. They've run so much on offense that our defense is confused. We got to settle down and play defense. We're giving them the corners, we're giving them up the middle, and giving them the bootleg passes. They just got us confused, but we got to do a better job of coaching.
What do you think about the tackling of your defense?
What do you think? It was awful. You know, when you can't tackle, you can't play. We had our head down a couple of times. But, again, good teams make you do that. But we're going to get that straightened out here in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Work to get off blocks and then wrap up when you tackle.
Gators up by 6 will get the ball. But they'll get it on the 20 after another booming kickoff. Harvin will start a tailback here in the second half. Nice fake by Leak. With a bootleg wide open and throws to Baker. Baker got hit just as he tried to pull the ball in by Irons.
And see, to me, and again, Chris Leak has made good decisions all season, but this is when he's got to run the football. Because if he runs, he might gain 10 yards in an easy first down, but he wants to throw it instead of run, and in that case, they come up with 2nd and 10. He's got room to run to the sideline for a first down. He throws it back, and Irons knocks the ball loose.
Good play by Irons on the corner. Deshaun Wynn checks in. And Wynn will get the carry. It's one of those option reads, but the option for Leak is to hand it off. He's not going to keep it that much.
Well, he reads the defensive end. If the end says give it to the Wynn, he does. And you look at these first half numbers, both teams ran the ball well. You got to account for those 5 sacks for Auburn. Total yards, Auburn 221. They ran 22 more plays in the first half than Florida did.
They got so much less out of it.
Yep.
Crowd trying to encourage that defense on 3rd and 4.
Florida only had 1 third down play in the whole first half. They were 0 for 1. They never even had to run 3rd down. So this is new for them.
And the Gators have to burn a timeout. Crowd noise had something to do with that. The Florida Gators facing a 3rd and 4. Blitz coming. Leak unloads. Baker with a catch, first down.
Very tough to get to Chris Leak on these quick throws. I mean, he knows where he wants to go with the football. They've got the defense spread out, and he finds the matchup he wants. 3-step drop, get rid of the ball. And that was a pretty decent collapse of the pocket by Auburn, but the ball was out of Chris's hands so quickly, couldn't do anything about it.
Baker said the new coaching staff that came in last year was like getting amnesty. He was reborn and has become the best receiver on this club. Win. Urban Meyer had some very good things to say about Deshaun Wynn. They were really searching for a young man who could carry the load, who was available, 25 carries a game, and Wynn really impressed him this year. First he said, well, that's one game, let's see him build on it, and he has done that.
He's done that, and he's fought through some injuries and fought through some pain, too. They have nobody out over the slot here.
They'll go with Harvin. Look out, this is what he did before. Got a tremendous block. And now he's buried back at the 32.
You know, I think his knee was down early in this play. The lines judge is marking a spot like where he was down. I think his knee may have touched down. But he's an exciting guy, isn't he? When he changes directions.
Looked like Quentin Groves got decleated on a blindside block when he changed directions.
Now, Drew Miller's the guy that hit him.
Guys live for these.
See, right there.
Oh, could be.
I think that's maybe where they marked it anyway, because that's about the spot where he was down.
That's back at the 31. There's that block. He got two guys. Pressure coming on Leak. They got it. That was Groves along with the defensive end, Chris Browder. So it didn't take Groves a long time to recover, did it?
Well, he beat the right tackle, Carlton Metter. Just a quick move off the ball, just a speed rush around the outside. Beat Metter to the quarterback, and a big-time play when this defense desperately needed one.
And for the first time tonight, the Gators will punt. Eric Wilbur to kick to Dunn. Look out! And they got him! Loose ball! Touchdown Auburn! Tristan Davis blocked the punt. What a huge play!
LSU blocked a punt last week in the fourth quarter against Florida.
Florida is stunned. The point after, and Auburn takes the lead.
Well, Tristan Davis, who we have seen as an outstanding kick returner tonight, here he is. He's up on the corner, and he's just going to come right along the outside. But because the snap was mishandled, that allowed Davis to get to the punter, Wilbur. It was a good snap. It was just Eric Wilbur took his eyes off it, lost his concentration, and that screwed up the timing. And a huge play by the Auburn special teams. Tristan Davis gets there first, gets to the quarterback. It's actually blocked by Gerard Powers.
And then Swinton.
And Troy Smith with the touchdown.
Or Troy Smith, rather. Trey Smith, the backup running back, gets the recovery and the touchdown. And all at once, the Gators slack-jawed and trailing. Well, what a turnaround. Auburn's defense, special teams get the points. And another booming kickoff. Florida will have to start from the 20.
And you see Chris Leak right now under the center because that allows them to use an audible snap count.
Try to get that ground game established again, which worked so well early. Deshaun Wynn. Let's go to Holly.
Guys, when this crowd has something to cheer about like the sack or the block punt, it is deafening down here on the field. It's the kind of loud that you can feel in your chest. It is shaking this place. We'll see if they can handle it here. They've been practicing the silent count up and down the field every day after practice this week at Florida. We'll see if the noise affects them on this drive.
You can simulate it all you want, but it's not the same as the game. Win? Not much. And all at once, that Auburn defense looks so much better. Antonio Coleman with the tackle. On game day, this becomes the 5th largest city in the state. Almost 87.5. I'll tell you what, it's the loudest city in the state.
Well, and if they get another sack or a stop here on this 3rd down, this place might explode.
I'm getting ready to duck. I can barely hear you. Blitz coming. Get him again. Where has this defense been for the last 2 weeks? Try it again, and now the Gators trying to bring everybody in the block because Auburn is showing another rush. Wilbur with that rugby-style kick. Bounces one across midfield, will get a good roll out of it. All night long on successive possessions, turned in great defense, and special teams turned in a touchdown. Cox throws complete to Rodriguez-Smith. The JC transfer makes his 3rd catch.
The Auburn offense has not had a lot of problems other than when they've gotten in the red zone and not getting touchdowns, but they've moved the ball. Brandon Cox 12 of 18 in the first half. The only thing they have not done is throw the ball down the field. Look at that, nothing over 15 yards down the field. Al Borges said they've got to take some shots downfield when they get an opportunity. Part of that is they haven't been able to protect him too well, but look for them to take a couple shots deeper down the field this half.
Irons is back in there. Stewart is the fullback in front of him. Irons will get the carry and very close to a 1st down. They need to get just shy of the 50-yard line.
It's hard in a league like the SEC to just drive the ball 80 yards on people. You've got to get chunks of yardage in big plays. They started out in the Washington State game, a lot of big plays, but really, since they've gotten into SEC play, not many plays over 20 yards, and it's hard to just go the length of the field against good defense. You got to get some big plays when you get opportunities.
But both of these teams were tearing off chunks in the first half. Lester comes in. Stewart, the fullback, will get it. He's pushed back, but his forward progress will give him a 1st down.
So right now is when you got a chance to take a shot down the field. You got a 1st down, a play action with maximum type protection. The only thing you have to be aware of if you're Brandon Cox is that free safety, Reggie Nelson, because he takes great angles to the deep balls, and he's playing very deep this whole game, guarding against anything deep down the field.
Boy, is he ever. Looks like he's back for a punt.
He's been that way the entire game.
He already has 4 picks, and if you're allowed to play free safety like that, you're going to get your shot of footballs. Lester will pick up about 3.
Lester on the carry.
Now, what do you do as an offense when you see a safety who is obviously not going to be involved in a run very quickly? Well, you take advantage of it?
Well, you run. You just may not want to throw the ball deep in the middle. I mean, you maybe want to try to look him off with your eyes and get him more favoring one side of the field and throw back to the other side. But he has great instincts, great ball skills, and he's somebody you definitely have to be aware of when you put the ball in the air down the field.
Todd, it's been a long time since I've seen anybody outside of a prevent defense playing that deep. Lester for maybe a yard. Joyner made the tackle.
Look at Reggie Nelson last week. He played as good of a game as you could play. He blocked a punt, and then he created interceptions with big hits. Right there, the ball popped up. Ryan Smith got 2 interceptions. Watch the angle he takes on the deep ball. He's playing the deep middle center field. Perfect angle, full speed to the receiver. Big hit and another interception. And, oh, by the way, he also had 2 interceptions of his own in that game. So, outstanding free safety work.
He and Ryan Smith have been a tremendous combination back there. Cox underneath, and that will be caught but short of a first down. Taylor was wide open, and Cox threw it at his ankles. Otherwise, he's got a first down and more.
Yeah, easily. He turns upfield, and you see him saying, just give me the ball. Get the ball up for me, and I keep running. I might still be running. Brandon Cox has been under pressure a lot tonight. Good protection this time, just a low throw.
Tommy Tuberville doesn't even think about it. He's going to bring the kicking team on.
Yeah, because your defense has a little momentum right now. And so let's see if Cody Bliss can put him inside the 10.
Bliss averaging 47 yards a kick. He has been terrific. Mile-high spiral, but it reaches the end zone. Here's Leak and Tebow in the same backfield.
I don't think they've done this yet this year, so a totally new wrinkle for the Gator offense.
Looks toward Tebow and then goes the other way. Flanker screen. Caldwell gets it up to the 29-yard line. That's how good and dangerous Tebow is. You just look toward him, and people are going to run in that direction.
Yeah, you fake the bubble screen to him. They've got to respect that. And he's used as a decoy in that play 100%, but it still had an effect.
Second and the length of a football. They go straight up the middle with Deshaun Wynn. Derek Marks makes the tackle, but it's a first down.
Well, Auburn has done a better job already in defending the run. Now, part of that, as you see, only -2 yards, those 2 sacks. And that's a good way to knock your rush numbers down if you're a defense. That first half, they were not able to slow down the Florida offense at all.
The biggest difference, though, has been the intensity.
Yep.
They played like they had to have it. Win, little stutter step, nowhere to go.
See, that's getting off blocks.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a difference. That's getting off blocks, forcing that runner to bounce it sideways, and then getting there and making the tackle.
Well, you said so much of it was want to, and that's what they're showing in the second half.
Yeah, it's intensity, it's effort, and then it's executing, and that's what they're doing.
Patrick Lee came up from the corner. Tebow is back in the ball game. What a talent this kid is at 230 pounds. He can run like a deer. He's thrown the ball very rarely, but the surprise effect has been good if nothing else. And when Tebow is in there, this is like choosing up sides in your neighborhood. It's the best player out there. Give him the ball, let him do what he wants.
I mean, he is going to run the majority of the time. He's the second leading rusher on the team coming into the ball game, and that's how they've called plays with him in the game. 32 times they've called his number to run it. That was about the best defense I've seen on a Tebow run all season. And the second third down play, the third of this second half. They only had one the whole first half.
Leak back in, throws underneath. Well short of his intended receiver, Cornelius Ingram, the wide receiver turned tight end.
And I think Chris Leak felt the heat that time. He threw that ball before he had to because he didn't want to take another sack. Quentin Groves is starting to get it turned on for this Auburn defense.
And Trey Black, the number 10, is just running around out there. He obviously is not comfortable with where he's supposed to be on the defense, but they're telling him every play, go here, do this, and boy, he can do that.
Yes, he can. He can get there quickly.
47-yard kick and a good one.
Rex Grossman having an outstanding season. You take a look at his numbers. A lot of people didn't think he was the guy that could do it in Chicago. Former Gator quarterback.
Felt so bad for him because he got hurt the first 2 years. Cox, excellent protection this time. A lot of time to throw, and it's dropped.
Started
right
to run.
in the hand hands of Appreciate Rodriguez, and he just dropped it.
Well, you'll see at the very end of this, he took his eyes off the ball and turned to look upfield. They finally went down the field, further than 15 yards. At the very end, he just takes his eyes off and takes a glance upfield and didn't secure the catch.
Ryan Smith was there, but it was very catchable, and Rodriguez just didn't do it. Cox changing the play. Irons trying to get outside. Got a good block at the corner.
What a block by Carl Stewart.
Boy, he just cleaned out, didn't he?
This was an 8-man front by the Florida defense. An 8-man front, and Brandon Cox checked to an outside play. Watch Stewart lead and get the key block right here on the corner. Check to the outside run by Cox. Watch Carl Stewart cut down the linebacker right there. Brandon Seiler. Beautiful block.
Got one and slowed down Everett, so he couldn't get out there. It's a huge play. And a great job by Cox to get him in the play against that front. Irons.
Good defense there.
You know, that's something that is lost on so many people. They look at the stats of a quarterback. How many yards does he run for? How many passes does he complete? But if you can't get your team out of a bad play or into a good play, that's a huge part of being a quarterback.
Well, you know, a lot of people have the misconception about what audibling is. A lot of people think you only audible to get a home run play. That happens rarely. What happens more than that is getting out of a bad play into just a 4-yard run to the other side. That's just as important for an offense.
Rodriguez makes the catch, gave up about 3 yards as he turned back looking for more room, so it's going to be another big third down. And the third quarter will end with Auburn taking advantage of a block kick for a touchdown with a 1-point lead over number 2, Florida. Big play here. Lester. He'll be shy of a first down. They're marking it around the 44. They needed to get to the 46. There's a penalty flag, however, back around the 35-yard line.
Brandon Cox was laying on the ground, and then there was a flag. I was watching the play. I didn't see what happened to the quarterback, but this could be another costly penalty on the Gators.
Could the team that leads the nation in penalties do it again?
Number 94 in the defense. Unnecessary roughness against the quarterback. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Jarvis Moss with a backbreaker.
Yeah, I mean, he clearly hit the quarterback way after the pitch. Here's Jarvis Moss, and the pitch is going to go away, and he's just going to come and hit the quarterback Cox. It's not a bootleg. It's not a fake. And you just can't go hit the quarterback like that when the play's going the other way.
I'm always amazed that players can do something like that, then go to the sideline and say, I didn't do anything.
Well, the bottom line there, they don't have the first down on the run.
Oh, no.
But now they have it on the penalty.
No, they'd have had to punt.
Yeah.
So it keeps the drive alive, and it keeps the ball away from the Florida Gators offense. So everybody who's below them is watching this one. And the first PCS rankings come out tomorrow. Cox, good protection. And throws wide. Taylor had a step on the defender.
Pass intended for Courtney Taylor. Incomplete. Second down.
See, those are the kind that you've got to make count. They got protection. They had the timeout, so they had plenty of time to make sure everybody knew what play they wanted. They had it well protected. They just couldn't connect. Jarvis Moss still on the sideline, paying the penalty of that costly penalty on his part.
Changing the play again. The tailback is Lester. And he'll get a carry trying to get outside. That same play they switched to the last time, and Lester was just swallowed up by Brandon Seiler, the middle linebacker.
Yeah. He's been kind of quiet tonight. We haven't called his name too many times. This time, quick read, great angle to the ball. slips right between blockers and makes the tackle behind the line of scrimmage. And that's a play the Florida defense needed at that moment. Now it's 3rd and long, which is right where Florida wants to get you. Jarvis Moss back on the field as one of their best pass rushers. Florida showing blitz.
Cox trying to move people.
Yeah, people moving all over the place.
Cox steps up, throws underneath, complete. Smith. There is a marker down as Smith reaches the 21-yard line. That time, Cox felt the pressure and stepped up in the pocket.
Yeah, I think there was so much movement by Auburn trying to adjust their pass protection. They had 2 guys moving at the same time. Yeah,
you're right.
They weren't set before that snap. Brandon Cox was trying to change protections, and he's calling receivers in and tight ends in. It's a great play by Brandon Cox, but they didn't get set before the snap.
On the offense, players moving and not get set prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty, social for that.
So you got to be set for a full second, and that's what happened. When Courtney Taylor came in, he's got to be set for a full second before the ball snapped.
And that cost him a 20-yard gain. In effect, it's a 25-yard penalty.
A pair of very costly penalties in the same drive. One by Florida, and now one by Auburn.
Cox to the shotgun. Throws underneath, and again, if he hits a guy in stride, gives him a good ball to catch, they get a chance to pick up extra yardage. But it looks like he's just aiming there.
Yeah, it does. And I don't know if his leg is bothering him more as this game has gone on or what. But you're right. He's throwing a lot of low balls. He's not hitting his receivers in stride. And he doesn't look as sharp throwing the football as I think he looked earlier in the ball game.
So they're going to try to pin him back with a pooch kick. Bliss.
That's a lot better.
Nelson has trouble with the fair catch, but makes it at the 10. Leak only 70 yards passing tonight. Now they run the option and a rare carry for Leak. He's up to the 14-yard line.
The Auburn defense will take that anytime. They want Chris Leak to run the football in the option game. Only 70 yards passing. I think what we'll see now a little bit more of is Florida spreading out this Auburn defense that's starting to play a little bit better against the run and rushing the quarterback better on 3rd down and throwing on early downs when Auburn is still maybe expecting run. Spread out, find your matchups, and work those favorable matchups.
2nd and 6. Leak again on the play action. Throws on the run. Baker.
Wow. Great job by Leak.
33 yards, a perfect strike from Chris Leak.
Nice little misdirection. This is a slow developing play because Dallas Baker is running a deep crossing route all the way across the field. So it's play action, get out to the left, and it's a design throwback. And Chris Leak has to move a little bit to find the throwing lane and then throws a perfect throw to Baker. See, it takes a long time for Baker to get around to the other side. Beautiful throw on the move by Leak.
Leak is so cool. He's the last guy out there that is going to lose his composure. Fakes to Harvin. Leak again off the fake. Throws almost intercepted. Right through the hands of David Irons. He'll never have a better shot at one.
And that's the kind of play this Auburn defense needed. Only 3 interceptions on the season, only 6 forced turnovers in 6 games. They're 105th in the country, and this one was gift wrapped for David Irons. Not able to come down with it. Chris Leak, very rarely when he's not pressured, makes this kind of throw, but David Irons not able to capitalize.
Huge play there. 2nd and 10. Will Auburn bring pressure again? They run the option. The toss, Caldwell. Caldwell first down and more, still on his feet at the 30 to the 27.
See, and I'm very surprised by how Auburn defended this, because Will Muschamp told us when Tebow's in, they're going to attack the quarterback in the option. When Leak's in, if they run the option, they're going to feather and make him keep the ball. That's not what they did.
No, they were feathered short on this one.
And they crushed Leak and forced him to pitch. You don't want to let Chris Leak pitch the ball in the option. You want him to run it, not Andre Caldwell. That was poorly defended by Auburn against the option.
Gain of 26. Florida already within field goal territory. They'll kill the play.
Florida, that is their second timeout of this half.
The Gators only have one left as they spend their second one here on offense. From Auburn, Alabama, where we have a 1-point game between number 2 and number 11. Fake to win, give to Caldwell. And a flag down at the end of the play. Nobody else around. That could be a face mask.
The best running that Florida has had tonight has been by not the running backs, but by wide receivers. Now 113 yards by the wideouts. Now some of that has been on options. That has been a reverse to Caldwell. And when Harvin has been running the ball, it's been out of the I formation.
Mask on the defense, number 4. 5-yard penalty, results in a first down.
That was a well-designed play there, too, because that was a I formation, tight end in the game, fake the run inside. Auburn was thinking inside run and then come with the reverse with Caldwell. They've really kept him off balance in how they've run the football tonight.
Urban Meyer has a pretty extensive playbook. Nice fake by Leak, has a man wide open and throws to the tight end Tate Casey. Leak's pretty nifty.
He is, and he's managing the game. I mean, he knows exactly what he wants to do. He's only made the one mistake, and he got away with it. The throw to David Irons had a chance to intercept, but a good ball handler. He's such an accurate thrower, whether he's in the pocket, whether he's rolling left or right. And now they're in that situation of the field where they want their running quarterback in, Tim Tebow.
The freshman from St. Augustine, 6'3", 229. No hesitation. Tebow just takes off, gets down short of the 5-yard line. Caught around the ankles by Sinderic Marks.
Yeah, Marks did a nice job of catching him from behind. It's pretty hard to take on Tim Tebow head on, but Marks got him from behind. And Tebow went down short of the first down.
Well, he's bigger than most of the linebackers. Yeah. He's bigger than all the guys in the secondary. Third down. Long 2, short 3, whatever you want to call it. Leak back in. Fakes to win. Looking to throw.
This might be a fumble. Yeah, they put the thing down.
Picked up by Blackman. Blackman was nearly able to go the length of the field. Quentin Rhodes got the ball away from Leak.
Now, they will look at this because it was ruled a fumble, which means they could review it. If it would have been ruled an incomplete pass, it would not have been reviewable. Arm comes forward, and then the ball came out.
Tate Casey was 3 feet away from it. 84.
Well, Blackman again, the guy in his face that forced the play. And here comes the review.
Al Ford is the replay official upstairs. Thomas Ritter, our referee.
To challenge the ruling on the field on the previous play.
All right, Scott Johnson and Bo Garrett will give us a different look from downstairs.
Yeah, Blackman never hit the ball. That ball came out of his hands, and I think his arm was coming forward.
Yeah, but I think he was trying to hold on to that ball.
Well, he may have been, but I think his arm, the movement of his arm was forward.
Now, he stopped his throwing motion, or was trying to stop his throwing motion, because of Blackman. So the question is, you know, is it a pass, or did it come out of his hand that way? And that would go back to the NFL tuck rule, which does not exist at this level.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. First down.
Wow.
That's a tough call.
Yeah, it is.
The big plays have had Tiger written across it. Irons. Where the Gators close quickly, and Brandon Seiler, the middle linebacker, was right in the thick of it.
Down by Brandon Seiler.
Early in the year, before Kenny Irons got hurt, what a joy it was to watch him run the football.
Yeah, he doesn't look quite the same. I mean, there's no question about it. He just doesn't have the same burst, doesn't have the same cutting ability. And I think because of that, tonight anyway, Brad Lester maybe has been more effective running the football because of his speed in the second level than Kenny Irons. But Kenny Irons still dependable in the game right now.
2nd and 9. Brandon Cox to throw. Taylor out in the flat. Trying to make something happen. Dives forward. What a tackle by Reggie Nelson. Open field tackle. Got him around the ankles and brought him down. Keep in mind, as we show you the timeout situation, Florida, which had called the timeout to challenge the fumble ruling, because of the challenge, they lose the timeout. That's a big penalty in a situation like that. You got to do it.
Yeah, you have to. Especially if Auburn's up on the ball trying to snap the football before they can actually stop it to review.
3rd and 4. Cox, and what a catch! Robert Dunn with only his 3rd grab of the year, and a great throw by Brandon Cox.
And a great job by Brandon Cox, moving slightly to his right. Watch him move this way just to get away from the pressure and open up a throwing lane. Just enough movement subtly to give himself a great throwing lane out to Dunn.
Boy, McCollum was right there, too. That is the 9th different receiver that Brandon Cox has connected with tonight. Lester will come in on 1st and 10. They've reached the Gator 42. Lester. It's up maybe 2. We are under 7 minutes to go here. Auburn up by 1, driving for more. Irons. Powerful run. Now, Lester, excuse me, he just would not go down.
A little strategy here for Auburn is you've got to work the clock, okay? You got to work the clock because Florida has no timeout. And you want to get a field goal, because if you get a field goal, that gives you a 4-point lead. That means Florida has to score a touchdown, and a field goal won't help them.
Another big 3rd down. Lester dives. He's going to be short.
This is an interesting call right here now. You know that your kicker, John Vaughn, has a strong leg. I mean, he kicked a 55-yarder and a 52-yarder earlier.
This would be 50.
But you don't want to take the chance of a block and something bad happening here. Cody Bliss averages 47 yards a punt, and he's not a great pooch punter. So this is probably the high percentage call. Go for it here. Try to run for the 1st down.
Play of the game. Lester, 1st down.
Wow, what leg drive there by Lester. He hit that hole 100 miles per hour, boy.
It wasn't going to be his fault they didn't get it.
He's following Carl Stewart. They're running behind Duckworth. Look at the block by Duckworth, number 76. Outstanding by the right guard.
And 77 as well. King Dunlap got downfield and just buried somebody.
So now you're still working the clock. Brandon Cox, his game management has really improved. Work that clock. Let that play clock go down as far as you can before you snap the ball.
If they get 2 more 1st downs, they wouldn't even have to score. This will get about a yard just inside the 30.
Happy Mountaineer up here in the booth.
I tell you, that's what they need. They need somebody to go down in flames to give them a shot. Stewart will get a carry.
Brandon Cox again, letting that play clock go down. And one of the things you want to do as a quarterback, you want to take your time right now. Take your time in the huddle. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to get out of the huddle quick and then go up and say, okay, I'm going to let this clock go down, and you have your linemen in a stance, because you don't want to change their rhythm. So take your time in the huddle so that when you break the huddle and come to the line of scrimmage, then you can kind of snap it in the same kind of rhythm and cadence and let your guys come off the ball.
3rd and long, clock running. Gators with no timeouts, approaching 3:30. Cox is going to throw. Pressure coming. Steps up and has it batted down. Whoa. Seiler got a piece of that one. So this will bring up a field goal situation. And no matter what happens in this ball game, I hope the people around here know what a great coach and how lucky they are to have Tommy Tuberville at this school. They tried to run him out of here a couple of years ago when the athletic director and the school president went behind everybody's back. They eventually lost their jobs because of it. They both resigned. Tuberville survived, and the reward was the 13-0 finish. It'll be a 45-yard try to go up by 4. Wide. Now the Gators need a field goal to win. Now the Gators, a little over 3 minutes to go. Pressure coming, intercepted. Eric Brock. 26-yard return. And it looked like Leaf was hit as he threw. Eric Brock's first interception and the biggest play he's ever made at Auburn.
All the coaches at Auburn and anyone you talk to that plays Chris Leak says, if he's comfortable, he's deadly accurate. If you pressure him, he will throw the ball up for grabs some. Pressure, throwing off his back foot, not nearly enough on the ball in the middle of the field, and Eric Brock gets the pick. But credit the pressure, and really, that has been the story of the second half for Auburn. Their ability to pressure Chris Leak has been like night and day from the first half.
And that came out of nowhere because they sure didn't do it in the first half, and they didn't do it last week when they lost to Arkansas. Florida's last 2 plays, a fumble and an interception. No timeouts left. The clock is running.
Well, and again, Brandon Cox needs to manage the clock. Boy. Chris Leak got away with one, the David Irons, and that one there was no pressure. But that, you know, unfortunately for Chris, that's happened to him before in his career. When he gets pressured like that, sometimes he just unloads it into bad spots.
You see the play clock. It's down to 4 seconds. Gators have almost everybody at the line of scrimmage. Let's check in with Holland.
Well, guys, you're talking about how different this Auburn defense has been in the second half, and for good reason. At halftime, Tommy Tuberville went into the locker room and lambasted his team. That's very unusual for him to yell at his guys. He was screaming, "Are you scared? I can't believe how scared you are. You guys are out here and you're scared about Florida." He said, if you're not going to get out here and play and quit being scared of these guys, I'm going to find somebody who will. It's very unusual for Tuberville, but he felt the need to light a fire into this defense, and guys, it seems like it did.
Boy, it sure worked.
The defense and the special teams. I mean, they came through. They got the sack, they got the blocked punt, and now the interception.
Now, they're not going to be able to hold on to this ball the whole time unless they get a first down. Still 1:23 to go, but the Gators can't stop it. Lester gets to the 22. They need to reach the 18 for a first down.
And not only can they not stop it, But as soon as the ball changes possessions, the clock will start again because of the new rules. So Florida, regardless of what happens on this next play, on this fourth down play, they've got to be ready to come right onto the field and run a play. And I think this is smart for Auburn. Run this thing all the way down.
The offense is going to have to be out there in a heartbeat. They can run this down to 33 seconds without having a penalty, or they can just go ahead and take the penalty or a timeout.
I think they'll use one of their timeouts here once that play clock gets down to 1.
Then they could presumably run a few seconds off on a fourth down play if they want to do that. And then the Gators have to hustle the offense on there and pull off a miracle. Gators have loaded up the far side. Vaughn delivers this time.
The offense came out hitting on everything the first half. Defense lagging behind, but it's been defense the second half.
Chance to return this one, but they won't. That took about 4 seconds off the clock on the kickoff. Batted up in the air. Incomplete. Marquise Gunn just kept fighting his way closer and closer to Leak and blocks it with 17 seconds left.
Marquise Gunn and his counterpart, the other defensive end, Quentin Groves, have really turned it up here in the second half.
They say Gunn does not get tired. He has the best endurance on the team, and he just keeps fighting and fighting. Listen to this crowd. Baker overthrown. They need to hit a couple of those to get within any kind of chance to throw the ball into the end zone on a Hail Mary.
Yeah. And how important was that last field goal by Vaughn?
Huge.
If you look at what Auburn's doing defensively here, you talk about what a prevent defense is. This is a prevent defense. Look at these three guys back here, because all they are thinking is we can't let anything get behind our defense for a touchdown, because it takes a touchdown to beat us.
Yep.
If Florida only needed a field goal, they wouldn't be able to play that way.
Maybe 2 plays left for the Gators. Can they pull off a miracle? Incomplete to Baker. Nice defense by Gerard Powers. He's the dime back, and he was with the Gators' most dangerous receiver. This would be the last SEC team unbeaten. Auburn unbeaten until a week ago when they lost to Arkansas. The Gators, number 2 in one poll, number 3 in the other, 6-0. But they've got 1 play left, and it's got to go 80 yards. Hook and ladder.